Come and tell us that's the fastest growing religion, so you're kind of successful, yeah?
It is, and especially with the whole Palestine issue, we've seen a great increase of people accepting Islam. And even like famous people as well. But
So what's the actual mission? Because I'm not Muslim.
Yeah. Inshallah, one day you're going to be.
But I don't know. I'm an agnostic atheist. Yeah?
Okay.
So my knowledge-wise, I'm an agnostic. I don't know everything.
Okay.
But belief-wise, I don't believe there's any gods and supernatural things. I think it's all natural.
Okay.
But as a human being, I can see the benefits of being in a religion, having a group and a community, the moral system and the scaffolding that it gives you in life. As an atheist, I don't have that, but I have humanism, which gives me a kind of guidance to what's always right and wrong, and also basically human emotions to know what's right and wrong. If you stole my phone, I'll be aggrieved. So I know if I stole yours, you'd be equally aggrieved. So that kind of thing.
But me, I would say it's the will of God, so I'll just leave it at that. You would say it's the will of the universe.
I'll say it's the will of human beings. That's it. So what makes you believe that Islam is the truth?
Okay, so to me personally, that question, I asked myself that question about 13, 14 years ago. I've been a Muslim for 11 years. Before that, I spent about 3 years looking into... I started my journey because I used to live this lifestyle of partying, clubbing. It was just your typical Western materialism. Clubbing, partying, girls, going out. Just simple as that. I didn't have no purpose. I always believed in a higher power. I always believed that there is definitely a higher power. From there onwards, I just realized things are just boring. It just gets boring. Like, you can't do the same cycle going clubbing every Friday, Saturday.
You grew up, that's what it is.
Huh?
You grew up, you got old, you got more mature.
True. But the thing is, there are people who still live that lifestyle to this day. And to me, if I live that lifestyle to this day, I would really be questioning my whole existence. I mean, I don't know, would I be suicidal? Because the thing is, it's like, as a human being, I want a purpose greater than me doing things that I should not be doing, whatever it may be. I don't want to go into details, is that purpose. Purpose is what we need. And a lot of people say, I ask people, do you want happiness or do you want peace? A lot of people say happiness, but I think we need peace more, because everyone have moments of happiness. Even a person that is depressed, he has moments, I'm happy now. But peace is something that is there in the long run, because peace gives you know why you're here, you know where you're going, you know what your objective is. You talk about mission. I know why I'm here, I know what my Lord wants from me, I know the objective, I know the end goal. So to me, it's that when I came into that transition, then I said to myself, it doesn't follow that there is a higher power. And this higher power just put me in here to do what? Is there no kind of guidance? There has to be a guidance.
So now you know that what you consider to be the truth. You feel compelled to spread that to other people and bring them to that truth as well.
Before I did that,
if by someone like who's a Christian, I grew up as a Christian, and they believe that Christianity is the truth, and they feel equally compelled to try and bring people to that truth, and the only way to paradise is through accepting Jesus Christ. So how do you know? Like, for instance, you wasn't born a Muslim, was you?
No.
So your parents, are they Muslims?
No, my dad's an atheist. My mum took a shahada a couple of years ago.
Right, you love your parents, yeah?
Right.
I love my mum. My mum's Catholic. She's been a Catholic all her life. And if I became a Muslim, I'd have to believe that I'm worshipping a God that's going to send her to hellfire for worshipping Jesus Christ as shirk, as taking partners. And that to me is insanely problematic, It's cruel, it's barbaric, it's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, far less my mum. So I don't think I could actually do that. Or if I believed in a Christian God, they'll be sending you and your parents, maybe not you, to hellfire. And I don't think a loving God would do that. So therefore I think a loving God, the gods of the Christian and of Islam, doesn't really exist.
Okay, so this is the problem of evil, and I would say just because we don't understand and comprehend something, it does not negate it. Like, for example, just because you don't understand why certain things are stipulated does not mean that that thing is not true. Because I can prove that God exists. But to use the argument from evil, which is, but why does God do this if that is the case, it's not going to prove the argument. Because, for example, number one, we don't believe that every person that believes Jesus, Christianity, etc. is going to hell. In Islam, we believe God is the most merciful and is the most just. Meaning,
so you believe some Christians are going to go to hell?
We believe Christians, atheists, agnostics have all a potential possibility of going to heaven. How? Why? And Islam has this belief system.
So I, as an atheist, can go to your Muslim heaven?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because God is not unjust. God has told us that He negates oppression to Himself. He says, don't oppress because I've negated it to myself. Meaning, don't oppress one another. Because I would not do that to you guys. Which means the following. Allah in the Quran, in every chapter, calls Himself, one of His attributes, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the most merciful, the very merciful. Why is Allah perpetually telling us He's the most merciful, the very merciful? Because He's trying to tell you He does not want hellfire for you. We don't believe in a God that is a boogeyman or a monster who's like, I cannot wait to put many people in hellfire and I love it. No, that's what Allah tells us in the Quran. The people who end up in the hellfire, they end up in there because of what they're doing. Paradise is gifted to us. We don't earn it. Because there is nothing that we can do to earn paradise. Hellfire is something that you exactly earn. When you end up there, you know you did it to yourself.
But please don't be offended if I ask questions along the way.
Yeah, no, please.
I'm a skeptical person, so when you're asking certain things, talking things, I've got like red flags coming to me.
Sure.
Like when you say Allah said this, Allah said that, yeah? How do you know that Allah actually said that? Because the person who got Allah's word was an illiterate man who went into a cave and over a period of 23 years was given certain recitations to remember and then tell other people from his memory, and then over a period of like hundreds of years it was translated to different languages and then written down on perishable pieces of paper before finally coming to a book called the Quran. So it's all based down to one man's memory of what he heard in the cave and other places when he had this recitation. So people are fallible, people are not perfect, people forget things. So he might not be able to remember exactly what he said, what he heard, and being as it's written down hundreds of years after the event, it's like if someone was in Speaker's Corner 200 years ago, having a talk to you, and then they're trying to remember what he said before someone's written it down. Chinese whispers is going to be completely out of sync with what was actually happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's absolutely valid. The reason with these arguments, usually we start from the top, which is prove God exists, then why Islam is the truth. The reason I went down this route is just to answer your questions of the doubts that you have that your mum will go to hellfire if you became a Muslim. So that's what I wanted to deal with. The question that you asked, for example, we have a whole answer, a whole system why it's not Chinese whispers. We have evidence that we can put to test, and Allah tells you to put to test. Allah says in the Quran, if you think this is not from your Lord, bring something like it, a small chapter like it. Allah also tells us in the Quran that if you think this is from your Lord, find contradictions and errors in the Quran. Now, the Quran has its evidences and miracles within it that can prove to you that it cannot be from no one except God Almighty. So that's why we have this proof, because I'm not an idiot. I'm not somebody who going to go and believe in a religion and put my life and dedication into something that it's not true. You get it? Just
some of the miracles in there are questionable, because one of the miracles is that he split the moon in half.
Oh, no, look, I'm not even going to go there. I will bring you prophecies and miracles that are undisputable. So I can bring that to you. But
you think it's not undisputable that he split the moon in half?
No, that's one of it. I'm going to bring you stuff that, for example, I cannot go back then and claim that to you. However, the Quran is something that we can put to test because it's something in front of us. I would rather use that. So before I get into that though, let's start from the beginning, which is that you don't believe in God. So I have to prove to you God exists. Then I'm going to have to prove to you why that is Allah. Then I'm going to prove to you why Islam is the truth. Yeah, we can take a step at a time. Maybe we can do part one now, because obviously it will take a lot of time, and we can do it again next Sunday. So, what evidence do you require from God for me to prove God?
Well, God would know my brain, yeah? He would know what evidence would be sufficient for me.
Yeah.
So he could just instantly give me the evidence, and I would say, all right, then that's indisputable evidence.
Okay, so you tell me that, because I don't know that. You and God know that.
All right,
so
then, well, say God has done some things in the past, yeah, to help people believe that he exists. He said, Muhammad said, to prove that I exist, I'm going to split the moon in half. Okay? So if God said, right, it's 5 to 7 now, at 7:30 tonight, I'm going to split the moon in half. And everybody's watching the moon, Sky News, BBC, all around the world, Al Jazeera, watching the moon. And at 7:30, the moon's split in half. I say, well, that's something that he's done before, he can do it again. So I have to believe that he exists. But then he came on TV and said, I am God, and look what I've done, no one can...
Okay, all right, so let's use that argument.
And everybody's seen it, it's not just a hallucination by me.
Let's use that argument, yeah? There's been mass hallucinations in history. Now, are you telling me that if we say at 7:30 the moon splits, that there are not going to be atheists, yourself or somebody else, come and say, actually, you know what, bro, maybe you use some kind of trickery, I don't know. There's no possibility?
I probably believe it. There's a threshold to evidence, yeah?
Okay, so...
I said that certain evidence, I said that's what would make me believe. Okay. But if that happened, then I'd go by my word.
Okay, so the reason I'm saying this is because even if that happened, or God introduced himself and said, I am God, for some people it's going to be like, not enough evidence for me.
Yeah.
Now, you might come and say, no, Ali, I'll be totally happy if this moon splits the moon. Now, the point is the following. if everyone came and said, I want God to do A and I want God to do it. You want to split a moon. Somebody says, I want him to take this tree and make it fly to earth. Somebody will come and say, I want him to make the sky pink. Now, God is not a toy. God is the one who's created the heavens and the earth, so we're not going to come and stipulate him what he is, what he should do. We say that he has given sufficient evidence why he exists. Now, I will use an argument.
But it's not sufficient evidence for me.
It is. I'll tell you why. Because if you're a logical person, I believe you're a rational person. So okay, so I'm going to use an argument from the argument from contingency. Yeah? Now, there are three types of existence. There is an impossible existence, there is impossible existence, and there are necessary existence. Yeah? So an impossible existence is having a triangle square. We say that's an impossible existence. You can't have a triangle square. Am I wrong or correct?
No, you're right, yeah.
Good. So we are left with two possibilities. The first one is we have possible existence, which are stuff like myself, you, the universe, the sun, Mars, our galaxy, all of these stuff, the camera, my watch. These are all possible existence. They are dependent things that depend on something else for their existence. They're contingent, which means that it depends on something else for its existence. Now, we say the following. There are all of the things within...
Sorry, bro. Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah. Keep it up the good way.
Thank you.
Hey, what about me, man?
Yeah, what about him, brother?
Hey.
Oh, sorry, bro.
He's going to be a Muslim soon.
Inshallah.
So the thing is here, it's just, you're right, you should be doing that, yeah. A lot of people do that with me when I'm with other Muslims. They come and say salam to me and not to them.
We're brothers in humanity.
Exactly. So the thing is now, we cannot have an infinite regress of dependent things. So we can't say this thing depends on this thing, that depends on this thing, and that goes infinite.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Good. So we say that we require a place where it stops, where we require a necessary being. Because what did we say? Well, there are three types of existence. We talked about impossible existence. It doesn't exist. It's out of the picture. We have possible existence and necessary existence. We say the necessary existence has to be God Almighty. Why? Because you cannot have an infinite regress of dependent things relying on one another eternally. There has to be a point where it all began. So now, the universe that we have, do you believe it is dependent or independent?
The universe, well, according to the Big Bang Theory, it's, they study the redshift of galaxies moving further and further away from each other. So I think it was Hubble that did that, and calculated that it all began 13.8 billion years ago in a singularity.
Yeah.
Now, what people don't realize is that the singularity was energy, infinite energy.
Okay.
Yeah? That's what they say in the theory. Yeah. Now, energy cannot be created nor destroyed in the first law of thermodynamics. So therefore, it's not contingent on anything. It's always existed, but it can transform into matter.
No. Okay.
Through E equals mc squared. You know, the Einstein's law of.
So are you saying that because the first or second law of thermodynamics, that energy cannot be created or destroyed, that means it is eternal?
Yes.
No, that's not true. Because energy cannot be created or destroyed in a closed system. So what you're saying is the following.
Just because nothing outside the singularity, so it's definitely a closed system.
What we say is the following. I'm going to give you my definition of what is a contingent thing and what's a necessary thing. A contingent thing is something that depends on something else for its existence. It is composed of pieces and it can be any other way. So when you talk about energy cannot be created or destroyed, we are talking about what gave rise to it. You're saying it cannot be created or destroyed. We're saying in a closed system. For example, we believe in heaven. Heaven will be there eternally, meaning it will always be there. It will not be created or destroyed, but it eternally relies on God Almighty for its existence. So when we're talking about energy, just because energy, for example, cannot be created or destroyed does not mean it is eternal. For example, do you accept that we have a set amount of energy within our universe?
I don't know. I don't know if you have a set amount of energy. There's things like dark energy as well.
Yeah, the dark matter.
Dark matter, dark energy. There's certain things that we don't know about. So there's parts
we can't observe.
Yeah, we can't observe. Yeah. So there's parts of the equation which are missing. So that's why I'm agnostic, because I don't know everything.
Okay, good.
But what we do know, that's why I'm bringing you back to what we do know is it comes from a singularity, which and they know that energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
That's fine.
So basically, that's not really contingent on anything. So it had to have always existed.
It has to
because there's no universe or space or time outside of that singularity.
Okay,
so this is a closed system, isn't it?
Okay, so what we're saying is the following: that energy not being created or destroyed does not take it out the fact that it was created. Why? Because the point is here, if you listen to me, is that we have a set amount of energy within our universe.
But you just said energy cannot be created or doesn't mean it's not,
exactly. So, for example, if God, argument's sake, God creates energy. Let's say God creates, and then He wills that thing within itself cannot be created or destroyed. This does not negate, just because it cannot be created or destroyed, meaning the argument is this, it's not eternal. Because it's composed, we have a set amount of energy within our universe. Because there's a set amount of energy within our universe, it shows that it is dependent. Because why is there one single energy, not more or less? The fact that it has a set number on it within the universe, like you said, there's redshift and it is all going back to a singular point, that means that was a set amount of mass in that specific point, which shows that it is dependent.
Well, the theories say that the singularity is infinitely hot and infinitely dense. Yeah?
No problem.
So it's like there was no mass, because mass is just energy. Mass hadn't been created yet. That's when it started to expand. Then it transformed into matter.
Okay, good, but it's expanding.
Yeah.
The fact that it's expanding shows me its dependency.
Well, it's expanded because people don't know why it's expanding.
They're saying it's like a ball of like orange. It's the size of an orange.
So it could be the size of a pinhead, who knows?
Well, exactly, but look, is it the size of a pinhead now?
It was infinitely dense.
Okay, but is it the size of a pinhead now?
No, it's expanding now.
Good, so what it means is the fact that it has the ability of being any other way is dependent. That's my argument.
So who's going to be able to find out what really happened and the truth is, either by going by a book that someone wrote 400 years ago.
No, forget the book, I'm not even talking about Islam.
Or going by a book that someone wrote 2,000 years ago, or by doing scientific experiments.
I'm putting all the books.
Building space telescopes like the Hubble and the James Webb telescope.
Yeah.
And searching for microwave radiation. You have a theory,
okay.
You try to find evidence to support or deny or debunk that theory. Sort of thing. And from that way, you kind of learn more and more and more. So you've got to be open-minded to learning more.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not even using religion here now. I'm using simple rationality and logic, which is the following. Because you said at a singular point it was the size of some say it was an orange or pinhead, whatever. The fact that it expanded and it is what is today, it shows that it is dependent on that because it changes form. It can be any other way. That's the reason why we said that you cannot have an infinite regress of dependent thing, which means that the energy that we're talking about at one point is composed of pieces. We are a piece of that puzzle today. We are a piece, like if you talk about energy, around us is energy. So that means that it is
more like a field.
It's good. It's composed of pieces. Anything that's composed of pieces, good. But anything that's composed of pieces is dependent. If it is dependent, what is it dependent on? We say the necessary being, because the necessary being is self-sufficient. It cannot be any other way, and it is not composed of pieces. Necessary means that it is absolutely necessary for it to exist, and everything follows from it onwards. So my argument is the following. You cannot have a regress of dependent things. You require a necessary being that gave rise to it. You can't have another dependent thing that gave rise to another dependent thing.
Let's agree, because you say it's been pieces. I'm saying it's a field. It's like a wave.
It's a particle.
We're both not. They got the particle wave.
Yeah, they got. No, but again, even that is systematic. The double slit experiment.
It's still. There's a lot of things that we haven't really fully understood yet.
Yeah.
Especially like dark matter and how that fits into the equation.
Yeah, and dark matter you cannot see, touch, smell, taste, or feel, but you still believe it exists.
Yeah,
but the same with God. God, can you see God?
It's fascinating stuff, the physics and stuff like that.
It is. It's fascinating when atheists have double standards, though.
Yeah, so,
the dark matter they cannot observe, they believe in it. God, they cannot observe, they disbelieve in it.
Well, I think dark matter is a term for something that we don't know what it is.
No, they see the effects of it.
Yeah, we don't know what's causing
but
that.
But they saw the effects of it.
Yeah.
But we are the effects of God.
So you're saying that the effects that's caused by what they call dark matter is caused by God?
No, of course everything's caused by God. But what I'm saying is dark matter is not observed. We see the effects of it, and we believe in it, even though we haven't observed it. Yeah, with our five senses. We don't see God, but we see the effects of it. You, me, the way we are created, but we say, oh no, God doesn't exist. I just see it as double standards, or some atheists.
Well, I see what you call the effects of God. I see the effects of the natural process of...
and how natural process? Blind
process? Stars forming. Yeah?
How?
By the accretion of gravity pushing...
That's knowledge. So, okay, so there's...
particles together.
That's
to form stars, to form nuclear fusion.
That's knowledge, okay.
Eventually they explode and cause heavier elements to form into planets around other stars.
These are all knowledge. Like, for example, right now your kidney is functioning.
Yeah.
Okay, our universe has a gravitational force. These are all things that are happening. It's happening. You need knowledge. You cannot have, when I speak to atheists, they say, oh, it's just Mother Nature and natural. What do you mean? Natural, nature is not, nature is blind. You cannot have all that with blind process. So what we're saying is, for example, do you believe we have DNA? Yes?
Yeah, DNA.
Is there information in our DNA?
You can call it chemical information, yeah.
Yeah, no problem, it's information. If there's information, there has to be intelligence.
Not necessarily. Chemicals react and chemicals have different processes that happen when you mix one chemical with another chemical.
Okay. How does
it's not an intelligence. You put like
no, it's intelligence because
bicarbonate of soda in water, it's going to fizz.
Good. But okay,
it's
why
not
is
an intelligence that does it?
It is because it has the properties that when it comes together it fizzes. Who gave it that properties to do that?
It's not like who gave it that properties. It's something
So where did
that's
it come
a natural
from?
process of.
Okay. When you mean natural, what do you mean by that? Because are you claiming that there is no knowledge?
All right, let's say like for instance, the sun is burning, yeah?
Yes. Why is it burning?
Nuclear fusion.
Okay, why is it nuclear fusion?
Gravity is pushing the elements together.
Why is the gravity? Okay, one second. Why does the gravity have a attribute of pushing?
What we can do is
observe. Or pulling.
What we can do, it's like it's prescriptive processes we see.
But why do they have these
It's
attributes?
descriptive processes we see. It's not descriptive. It's not like someone's actually doing it and making it happen.
No problem.
So I see it as a natural process.
It's doing it. But what we're saying is,
you may see it as a God that's making it happen.
It has to, because what I'm saying is the following. Your blood cell, white cells, okay, in your body, the way you're functioning, you're breathing, your heart is beating. Who is telling it to beat?
It's not like a who, you're jumping the gun there.
Good, okay.
It's like a who.
Okay, why is it beating?
Because if it didn't beat, I'll die.
Okay, good. Why is there a consequence that if it doesn't beat, you die? Who set this law?
It's an evolution. It's the way evolution works.
How does evolution answer the question that if your heart doesn't beat, you die?
Because our heart beats blood around our body, yeah? The blood is kind of like an ecosystem inside our body. It's like a very fine...
System requires order. Okay, look, system.
But the thing is, it's not perfect. There's a lot of errors in our DNA. Some people have holes in their heart. Some people
and they still survive?
Not necessarily. Some people die. Some people spend their whole childhood.
No problem.
We say and then die. You know?
I understand, but what I'm saying is the following.
It doesn't seem like a very intelligent...
It is. Because just because you do not understand why a certain thing doesn't have functionality doesn't mean it doesn't work. For example, like, just because I don't understand where a certain machine works, I'm not going to say, what stupid person, who created this machine? It's like, you're the stupid person because you don't know, this is the function it has. I'm like, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm such an ignorant person. The point I'm saying is the following. All of this goes back to a necessary being. Why? Because you're claiming blind process of evolution. Evolution just woke up one day and said, I'm going to create male and female. And they are going to have kids together. And when the child, and for some odd reason, sorry, there might be some kids here, but you know, how kids are made, yeah? So the sperm cell just swims. I don't know why it does that. Who gives it the information to swim to the egg, and then afterwards when the baby is born, it has this nature of suckling?
Where
does the information come from?
How old are you?
I'm 35, but some say I look 24.
I'm sure you've had these discussions before, so you must have talked to evolutionists before. So you must have had explained to you how evolution works. It's not just like one day someone's born with a heart and
no, that's fine. No, that's fine, but it doesn't answer the question.
But you know it's kind of like it's a gradual process, yeah?
Gradual process means there were things in place, systematic things in place that caused that to happen. I'm saying how does evolution, for example, the first cell. First cell is a very complex thing.
Yeah.
Okay, where did the first cell come from?
Well, abiogenesis is the people who study the first life.
What, was aliens? What is it?
No.
What's it? Panspermia.
They say you have elements like proteins,
where did they come
RNA,
from? Where did they come from?
And they see it around the universe, in other planets. In asteroids, they find the same proteins that you find on the Earth.
What I'm saying is,
so it's like a natural process that correlates on the Earth.
A protein is a very complex thing. When we talk about protein, it's not a protein shake. A protein is something that it's those blocks that are needed. Now, what I'm saying is the following. Who gave this information to these blocks, the first cell, etc., to have the capabilities, let's go with evolutionary theory, to turn this into we went from monkeys. There has to be intelligence. Do you agree?
You're begging the question when you say who.
No, it has to. Look, okay, is there information in the first cell?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, no, we haven't got the first cell because the first cell was a proto, so it might be very, very simple. Could have been like the proto cell
was simple.
Mitochondrial
first cell was simple.
Came together with a eukaryote cell.
A lot of science will be very upset with that. The first cell was simple. Let's go with argument say it was simple. The most simple form that it was in. Did it have information in it?
I would say it had chemicals in it, yeah?
Okay, but is that information?
You say chemicals are information.
Okay, if there's...
I'm not a chemist, so
that's
I don't
fine.
really know.
If there's information, there has to be intelligence.
Not necessarily.
Okay, prove to me why not.
Because if you're intelligent, yeah, you wouldn't even make a system called evolution where one cell has to devour another cell to survive, and then as we get more and more complex, other animals become predators and eat other animals that are prey to survive. It's a very, very brutal and inhumane system.
Just because it's brutal and inhumane to you does not mean the system doesn't work. What I'm saying is the following.
Do you believe in evolution?
If there's no, no, because the argument is the following. If there's information, there has to be intelligence. Can you prove to me otherwise?
No, because I see evolution. I see the way the world is now and life on this planet. It doesn't seem intelligent design.
Okay.
I mean, I saw on YouTube the other day a woman with two heads. You know, how is that intelligent design?
Again, just because you do not grasp why a woman has two heads does not negate that God exists. What I'm saying is the following.
Why would he do that?
Why he does it is irrelevant to him existing. You cannot come and say, look, if God exists, you can't come and say, why are the trees green? Why? No, I want the tree to be blue. It's irrelevant to the equation. If there's
photosynthesis, it helps with the...
Good, but what I'm saying is the following. If there is intelligence, if there is information, there has to be intelligence. You accept that?
Not necessarily. It seems like evolution is like a blind process of...
How can it be blind? You said there's information. But you said there's information.
Natural selection.
Okay, you said...
And the selection process is death. It's a brutal system.
Okay, look, I'm saying a very simple question, yeah? If there's information, there has to be intelligence. Is that right or wrong logically?
I don't know. I'm agnostic on that. I don't know.
So how could the conversation go
There's
forward?
some things I don't know. And if I don't know something, I don't know.
Anyone that's listening to this, information requires intelligence. If you have a book, if there's information, it requires intelligence. The DNA is far complex than every book on this earth. If you took every book on this earth, it has more information in a single strand of DNA than these books. So if there's information, it requires intelligence.
Well, you say single strand of DNA has more information than that's a double helix, yeah? A single helix like RNA has less intelligence than a double helix.
Irrelevant, there's still intelligence.
And then before that, you go back to like abiogenesis when chemicals came together.
That's fine, there's still intelligence.
Way back to when it's just energy.
The fact is,
energy to have intelligence.
Look, I'm telling you, any form of thing that is created, your heart, your white cells, when you get a cut, what tells your white cells or the blood or your body to close your wound from bleeding?
Nothing tells it, because some people, when they get cut, their blood doesn't cover.
You're gonna have to stay agnostic. You're gonna have to stay agnostic. I can't carry on the conversation.
I'm sorry, man.
It's
a nice conversation.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We have to agree to disagree.
I mean, anyone that's watching this, it's simple: information, intelligence, and that intelligence is God.
I want to talk to you about Islam. We didn't get past the first.
I'm here next Sunday. That can be the next part we can talk. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
And all that stuff.
Yeah, we can.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Take care. Finally, the champ has come. Okay.
Mashallah, looking good.
You brought the other champs.
I bought my team.
How you doing? How's life? I'm good, yeah. This is Jab.
Brother Amir, yeah? How are you, okay? How are you, brother? You okay? Mashallah.
He's the main troublemaker at Salam. What's your doing?
All the magic in your hands, yeah?
What have you been up to?